Well, hi, and welcome back to Purposeful Woman podcast. And today we have awesome guest, Stephanie Rigby, and she is your content-based bestie. It's an Instagram strategy and content mentor, helping digital boss babes feel confident about their content and feel empowered to show up as their authentic selves to connect with the dream clients. With over 10 years of sales and marketing experience in the corporate world, she decided it was time to start something on her own. So she started her own journey and has helped over hundreds of females online entrepreneurs achieve results on Instagram. Hi and welcome, Steffi.
Hi, Viktoriia. Thank you for having me.
Hi, really awesome to have you here. And as always, the first question will be, could you share more about your journey and how you got started to do what you do?
Yeah, so I love sharing my story. And one thing that I always like to point out is that I didn't always know that I was going to be an entrepreneur. I really always wanted to do something like working for myself and be an entrepreneur because I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. However, I ended up working in corporate when I graduated from university, and I was working in sales and marketing, and I was always working for other people, and I never really felt like I fit into the corporate scene. So I always sort of felt like an odd woman out sort of thing, and I just didn't like having to be told what to do all the time. I wanted to be able to make the call the shots and be able to make decisions for myself and not always have to be told by a boss or someone else above me what to do or how to act. And I didn't really like the corporate world because you have to be somebody that you're not all the time. So I found that that was very unfortunate because I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to work for people. So I basically ended up working in a virtual assistant role where I was working with a woman that ran her own company. And through doing that, I was actually able to figure out that I wanted to be a virtual assistant for myself. So after working for her, I started working for myself. And then I realized that I was really good with helping people learn how to engage on Instagram and how to create content for their ideal clients. So that's when I decided to start my business. And I was still working full time in corporate at the time. And then COVID hit in March. So unfortunately, I lost my job. But that's when I decided that I was going to go for it and go full time as an Instagram strategist and content mentor.
That is so cool. Why did you choose Instagram?
I chose Instagram because I really loved social media. And I also found that it was something people were always asking me for help with because I knew a lot about the app. And in general, having worked for this woman who was a Facebook's ad strategist, I actually did some of her social media and her Instagram for her. So I helped, chat with people and, chat with leads on her Instagram. And I also was doing a lot of her engagement for her, growing her account and all of those things. And then I had my best friend and my mom, who are both entrepreneurs, asking me for help. And so as I started helping them, I thought, instead of being a virtual assistant, how about I pivot to be a content strategist? Because I always felt that I was very creative and I would always give them ideas that they thought were very unique. So I was really good at just coming up with fresh ideas for people. And so that's basically where I took it. And that's why I love Instagram and why I chose Instagram.
I love it. I love it. Love it. So, what? Let's say that you are taking everything that you know right now and go back whenever what that place where you started. What would you change or what would you do differently?
That's a very good question. I think in terms of like business wise, what I would do differently is start a website right away. It took me a year into business before I actually had my first website. And I felt like I would have sold a bit more of my services and kind of looked a bit more professional, I think, or been taken a bit more seriously. Not to say that I wasn't, but I'm judging myself only. So I feel like that would have made me just feel a lot more professional and make me feel a lot more confident in what I was doing. So yeah, definitely a website. And then, yeah, I think that's the only thing I would say that I would change for sure.
Awesome. What will be your like top three, I guess, like one to three advices that you can give to people on Instagram that are
Yeah.
just starting out, that are just wanted to get out and use this platform to their visibility and advantage?
Yeah. So, okay. So, my number one tip actually is do not send a welcome or nice to connect with you DM. Do not DM people out of nowhere. That is just like, it's something people think like it's okay to do, but it's never really received the way you hope it is. So, that would be my number one tip. My second tip to follow that up would be engage with their content and consume their content before you try to take it anywhere, and make sure that you know how to identify your ideal client on Instagram. And so the best way to actually slide into people's DMs is to like consume some of their content, so like and comment, and then you can comment on one of their stories, and that's a good way to just start to get into their DMs. But you also need to know that it takes probably like a few weeks at least to get like a connection going with somebody. So don't rush to try and like work with them. Get to know them as a person, and then you can also vet them by asking certain questions to see if they'd even be a good fit as a potential client as well. And then my third tip will be consistent. Whatever that means for you, being consistent is what's important when it comes to getting results on Instagram. So don't feel like you need to post every single day. You do need to make sure that you're posting consistently, but if that's once a week, that's great. You have to figure out what to do with the time that you have and also the resources that you have at your disposal.
Beautiful. Love it. Interesting. So basically, when you are not sending them first message, then you're starting researching their content, you're really diving in there. So do you have a team for that, or do you recommend to do it on your own? Because it's very time consuming.
Yeah, it can be time consuming. And I understand like sometimes people can't afford a team in the beginning. And I didn't have a team in the beginning. So I was doing it all by myself. But I think the best thing you can do is like really set yourself like a timer for engaging, set yourself a timer for planning content, and set aside days of the week where you plan out your content. So you don't always have to plan 30 days in advance as an example, but having a purpose to what you're talking about is going to help you plan that content out. So there are three purposes that I teach. The first purpose is to connect, the second purpose is to educate, and the third purpose is to promote. So if you can create a list of content topics under each of those purposes, then you can figure out what you're going to talk about when, and you can go 1 week at a time. As long as you set one day each week to plan for the week ahead, that's all you really need to do. And you can save yourself time by not freaking out, being like, what do I post? You know what I mean?
Yeah, love it. Awesome. So, and the last question I always ask in this podcast is the filling the blank. If you really knew me, you will know that I am blank.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay, if you really know me, you would know that I am super friendly and outgoing. And that's not to toot my own horn, but that's just who I am. And if you know me really well, then you know that I'm super friendly and super bubbly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Super cool. I know you have an awesome freebie for us. Will you share with us what it is?
Yeah, so I actually have a library full of content resources for anyone who's starting out with Instagram, or anyone that's just like been trying to, get consistent with it, but haven't been able to either come up with ideas or hasn't had time to put their ideas to paper. I have some really juicy resources in there, things that like help you figure out how to write a good bio, things that help you, figure out how to plan your content, and those sort of resources. So it's a library where you're going to be able to find lots of really helpful things for planning your content.
Awesome. Thank you. And where our audience can also find you if they want to learn more from you, where to search?
Yeah, they can find me on Instagram at Your Content Bestie with an IE at the end.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode. And all the links that mentioned, we will place in the show notes. So don't go just to scroll down and you will find the episode page number on the website. Thank you so much. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye. And if you love this episode and you would love to see more of that, click the subscribe button to Purposeful Woman Podcast. And don't forget to text us to stay in tune with the Purposeful community for awesome tricks and tricks by texting to number +1 401 399 4105, and we will link descriptions in the episode to all of that we mentioned today. Bye. Turn your one day to day one with a purposeful day.